Now, the first skill that you have up here, obviously we don't have the proper name for it at the moment. It's called Blades of Shadow based on what we know. It is your basic attack skill like Triple Slash is for Battle Rage. However, it does not require a target. You can use it anywhere, facing any way. And it is a 3 quick attacks, 1, 2, 3. You can hit multiple targets, and you can apply multiple shadow marks from that third strike. On that third strike, you will dash a short distance, and it can be through the target, to the side of the target. Whichever way you're facing is where it will go. And dashing through that target applies the Shadow Mark debuff. The Shadow Mark debuff is the only thing that the Shadow Blade, or that the Swiftblade skill tree really has synergy with.
Yeah.
As most of your effects from your abilities are dependent upon these Shadow Marks. Now, there are multiple ways to apply the Shadow Mark. It is not just this main skill. This skill is not very popular to use because it has a very low damage output. It has a 137% melee attack power scaling. And all it does is apply the Shadow Mark debuff. You can apply it through other means in the class, so it's not really a necessity to take. Your next skill is your Whirlwind Blades. It is a little AoE similar to Whirlwind Slash. However, it does not CC. And it only does the damage equivalent to like a singular Whirlwind Slash from Battle Rage. So Whirlwind Slash in Battle Rage, you can use it 3 times. This is just a one-time use. All right. On the first application of it, it does apply weakening. On the second application of it, it applies the stronger weakening effect. If there are shadow marks on the target, it will do additional damage up to 40%. Keep in mind the shadow marks, they do stack up to 2 times. So if there were, say, 2 marks on the target, it will consume both marks and do up to 80% increased damage, not just the 40%. If the target is bleeding, it also does 30% more damage on top of that. So there are ways to increase the scaling of damage on this class, but there are a lot of prerequisites in order for that to happen. Now, the big one here, one of your hardest hitting skills is Execute. That's pretty much Execution. That's pretty much the name that we have for it. It does have a long cooldown, 24 seconds. It has a base damage of 1,205 with a 314% scaling based off your melee attack. It does a lot of additional damage if the target is in Shadow and Smoke Bomb. If they're slept, there are a lot of additional effects. If the target is in the Smoke Bomb effect, the damage dealt is increased by 102%. If the target is asleep, all right, it will increase the crit damage that it does by 100%. If the target is bleeding, it will deal 30% more damage. It also increases the duration of Impale on the targets, as you can see there at the bottom, by 2 seconds. So if the target is impaled, it increases it by 2 seconds if you use it. If you critically hit with Execute, you will backstab the target, all right, if they have a shadow mark on them, all right? This is one of your hardest hitting abilities. It is very good. Has a long cooldown. Now, the next skill is your first mobility skill, all right? I call it Shumpo, just based on the way it works. You will teleport here to the mark placed, and you can teleport back after any amount of time, or after not any amount of time, 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, you can teleport back within that time. It does apply a shadow mark. It will apply that shadow mark in an AoE scenario, so it will affect more than one person if they are in that space. Some things to keep in mind with it is that you can move anywhere outside of the range of where you placed it and still teleport back. So if I want to teleport here and then move further away, dash even, I can still... Oh, we just glided. We'll try that one more time. Sorry about that. We'll talk about what I just did there in a moment and why that's important. It does apply to your mobility skills. And if we go here, we teleport. We can teleport back even if we go outside, way past the range of it. You can do it while you're on a mount as well. It's a very good skill for juking people and just creating distance in general. That is a skill that can also be reflected with mirror image. Now, following that skill up, as my computer now wants to bug out, Rampantness. This is probably your second hardest hitting ability, and this ability is exclusively good with dual wield. If you run two-handed for this, it will not be good. The damage on it sucks if you run a two-handed weapon with this. It is only good if it is dual wield. All right. It does 4 initial attacks. All right. However, if you are dual wielding, it will do an additional attack with your offhand weapon damage. All right. On the first, second, and 4th attack. So you actually will hit the target 7 times with this one ability, and it will use your offhand damage for it. The reason why it is so important for you to have 2 good weapons as Swiftblade is because of that offhand damage effect that it happens with some of these skills. Without it, the skill sucks. All right. If a shadow mark is on the target, all right, this is what I was talking about. If there's a shadow mark on the target, it reduces the cooldown time of your pounce and your through strike skill by 30%. And that stacks based on the amount of shadow marks that are on it. So if there are 2 shadow marks on it and you consume both of those marks, it will reduce the cooldown by 60%. Okay? So here, let me show you. Watch the cooldown of through strike here in a moment. All right. It jumped all the way. It went from 11 seconds to 3 seconds. Just like that. All right. Now it's back, and I can use it again. All right. It does it for both of these. It is very good for resetting your mobility skills. It allows you to really be very mobile if you use your cooldowns properly. All right. And allows you to reset your cooldowns because if there is a shadow mark on the target and you kill that target with this skill, all right, it will completely reset the cooldown of your Shunpo step and your through strike attack. All right, so it's very good. And if the target is bleeding, it does an additional 30% damage as well. This is one of your best abilities, and it's on a relatively short cooldown in general at 12 seconds on its own, which is shortened based on one of your passives. So right now it's actually on an 8.4 second cooldown because of one of your passives with Swiftblade, which is when you're dual wielding, it reduces your cooldowns by, 30% already on its own, which is pretty mind-blowing. There's a lot of short cooldowns with it. Now, the next skill on your list is Mirror Image. This is probably one of the most important skills of the class, as it allows you to repeat any skill. All right. So that means I could use Rampage right there, and I can reuse it again, right like that. So I can do the same thing with the Shadow Steps and the Shunpos. It does have a long cooldown, normally 60 seconds, but with your passive, it's down to 40 seconds. So 42 seconds. So it's one of your best skills. It allows for a lot of really fun stuff that you can do. It also allows you to apply, your only CC, your root, through that method. I do apologize, guys. I'm not really reading chat right now. I'm focusing on this so that I can explain all of it to you. Be patient. I will acknowledge you, I promise. I love you, chat. All right. Now, let me show you, for example, now, one of the most, just the amount of mobility you can have from it. If we go here, all right, dash, all right, you can teleport again, and you can even, if you do it fast enough, you can teleport back again to that other mark there. All right, you can move around so much just with this one skill tree. It gives you so much mobility. That's why this skill tree really does work for melee, archers, and mages, but you have to take enough skill points to get the double distance on the mobility skills. You have to use at least 6 skill points in Swiftblade to get the double distance passive on these effects. Otherwise, they are half the distance of what you currently see them as. All right. Now, Following that skill is your Cursed Dagger skill. It is a very, it's a 15-meter dagger throw. Doesn't really have much of an animation other than that. Like, you jump up in the air, you get like these visual wings behind you. You don't really see a dagger throw itself. You can repeat that skill with Mirror Reflect. It does apply a slow, and if you use it on a target that is already slowed, it will root them. So you can use the dagger toss and then mirror image the dagger toss again to root somebody if they are running away. So you can do that. It does work. It is effective. Other than that, it's kind of like old throw dagger without the ricochet. Just applies, you know, the slowing effects that comes with it, the weakening. Now, this next skill is the true bread and butter of what makes Battle Rage, Occultism, Swiftblade such a strong 1v1 class, and that is Smoke Bomb. All right, you have the ability to place it anywhere within range, even from far away. You can dash into it, even dash out of it. The stealth works. You only get seen inside of it if they are within 2 meters of you. Otherwise, you won't be revealed. The thing that makes this skill so strong is that its debuff that you can't really see right here is that while people are inside of it, they deal 50% less damage. All right. It is insanely strong. It will be very good in AoE scenarios. And if enemies are under the influence of horror, so fear, if you're under the effects of fear, it'll increase the duration of those fear effects. All right. So between the combination of being able to use fear effects with this and the combination of being able, actually it will trip them. If they're feared and they're inside of it, it will trip them. It doesn't increase the fear duration, it trips them. Sorry, my apologies. Between that and having Execute able to extend the duration of Impale, you have the ability with this skill tree to drastically increase CC duration on targets over and over and over. It's pretty insane, especially since you can use Smoke Bomb again and again with Mirror Reflect. If you want, you can put it down here and you can reuse it again and create a larger area. I don't know whether or not if they overlap, it increases the amount of damage that people, the reduced damage that people deal. That's hard to test right now. That's going to be something that would definitely be more tested on the PTR once we get it in an A. But for now, that's just something that you can do with it. Pretty neat, pretty fun, pretty good skill. Just in general, it functions a little bit like a Kraken shield. Now your next skill, this skill is super situational, not very popular. It's called lightness or light-footed. It reduces the effects of slowing effects on you by 70%, and it lasts for 15 seconds. If you use mirror image with it, it can last up to 30 seconds. You know, if you know you're fighting someone who's using slows, very slow intensive class, you can use this to reduce that the amount of slow on you by 70% for that duration. That's about the only use for it that there is. All right. Your next skill is Through Impact or Through Strike. It is your dash skill. All right. This skill, when you dash through a target, it will apply a shadow mark to them. It does, if the targets are slowed, it will root them. So it does have the ability to apply an AoE root, but it does require all the targets to already be slowed. This skill has a lot of uses between being able to dash twice with it, with mirror image. But I think probably the biggest thing with it is the ability that it has to break fall damage. It does break fall damage. If you drop from your glider and you use this skill before you hit the ground, you will completely negate fall damage, unlike Teleport and Oromancy, which makes you go down and take damage, but still teleport forward. This will just dash you straight across. It does also work very well with going up and down terrain, unlike Teleport as well. you go over terrain pretty nicely with it. I actually don't know how it works here, but we were doing it in Whirlwind the other day. And it's pretty smooth going up hills and obstacles. If you use it going directly over a ledge, it will shoot you directly out over it, not down and across it, just straight out across from it. But it is definitely one of your best mobility skills. It is a very integral part of using Swiftblade. Still only really worth it if you have those 6 skill points to double the range on it. Like I said, it will apply a shadow mark, and it applies it to everybody it passes through, so that's good for your abilities to get that extra damage that you can see there. Your next skill is self-sacrifice. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's kind of like a scuffed honor Nodachi. Yeah, it's pretty much a scuffed honor Nodachi skill. It is a 45-second cooldown that increases your attack speed by 350, but it increases the damage you take by 50%. I don't really think it's worth it. So here, let me just auto attack right here. You can see our normal attack speed. All right, and then we apply that, and now there's our attack speed. It's much faster. You know, you can do all your combinations faster and all that fun stuff. But you're taking 50% more damage, so you really have to it'd be super situational. You'd have to know you're going to kill that target in that 1 CC. Otherwise, you're going to get blown up, similar to Nodachi. You can use Mirror Image to increase the duration to 20 seconds. I don't know why you would want to. But yeah, you can use it while using other skills. It does function off of the GCD, so there is that. You can, maybe integrate it into something, when you CC a target. But outside of that, I don't really see much of a use for it. Now, this last skill is probably your best skill on the Swiftblade skill tree. All right, it is called Blade Vecra. All right, you will apply a shadow mark to the target before you use it. All right, it can be used 2 times in succession. All right, it dashes you back and forth through the target as you use it. All right, back and forth, right like that, very fast. All right, so it's a little bit of a mind fuck for people when they, you got somebody dashing around through you with all the other mobility skills that comes with Swiftblade. All right, kind of all over the place. Now, the thing that's really fun about it is you can use it, and then you can use it again, and then you can use Mirror Image to use it a 3rd time. This is your hardest hitting skill next to Execute, but because of the ability to use it repeatedly, it's better than Execute. It has base 723 with 186 scaling melee attack. Now, the real fun with it is that if there is a shadow mark on the target and you use it, it will disarm their bow for 3 seconds. So this is pretty much a way to stop archers. Mages, you had silences. Melee, you had disarm. Now archers, you have your own disarm. It's going to be really interesting. It is very strong to use. This is also a skill that is multiplicatively better if you are dual wielding, because it will apply the damage from both weapons. All right, you can see it there. 2 damage numbers each time you use it up. If we put on a 2-handed weapon, let me show you the Rampage one. Just the 4 attacks. Damage is about the same from those normal attacks. If you use Blade Vecra, 4,725, 4,700. But if you're dual wielding, and this is a T2 Celestial Haram, by the way. This is a T2 Celestial Haram. These are T1 Grand Haram that I'm dual wielding with. All right, and the damage on them, as you can see, alone is so much higher between those 7 hits versus those 4 hits, along with the additional crit damage that comes with it. Now with Blade Vecra, you can see it's literally a 2,900 and a 2,600. You're hitting into that 5k range. It hits higher than the 2-handed weapon, which is at a much higher tier and level than these weapons are themselves. It is just better to be dual wielding for these main damage skills. You can run a 2-hander. Just know that if you're going to use these skills, you are losing out on so much damage by dual wielding with them. But that's the really big thing with it. It's going to be a really fun class. I'm really interested in seeing the kind of things people do with it. Let's talk a little bit about the passives now. Your first passive is Dual Weapon Master. It reduces the cooldown of all of your Swiftblade skills by 30% when dual wielding. So that's another benefit to why you would want to be dual wielding. It reduces your cooldowns automatically by 30%. Bloodthirsty Killers. When dealing critical damage on a target, you will move behind the target when using the Execute skill. So after you deal a crit and then you use Execute, you will, within 5 seconds, you'll backstab the target with Execute. Let's see if we can get that. So there's a crit, and then we backstab. It moved us right there. It backstabbed. Our skill bugged out a little bit there for a second. We'll do it again here just to get a little more clear image of it. But in the meantime, let's talk about the next one. Sharpened Blade increases the damage done with Swiftblade skills by 10%. Combat Passion. Now this is the one that's really interesting and has a lot of people's attention when comboed with Battle Rage. Battle Rage already has a passive that allows you to get 3k armor pen. Combat Passion is a stacking movement speed and armor pen debuff that lasts for 10 seconds and stacks up 6 times. It does 5% movement speed and 500 armor pen. So at 6 stacks, it's 30% move speed and another 3000 penetration. This is another reason why dual wield is better, because it works with every attack. So if you use Rampage with dual wield, you reach those max stacks with one ability if all of your attacks hit. All right, one ability and you have max stacks, automatic 3k pen right there. Very strong. Very, 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 very strong in the early game, especially when people are going to have very low armor values. Melee is going to rule the open world in probably the first few weeks of the game. All right, just because of the amount of armor pen they are going to have. Archers, you can do this too. You can do this too, archers. You just have to get close to use the abilities first. Swiftness increases the range. Increases the range of your attacks by 100%. So your dash from this is doubled. Your dash here is doubled, and the dash there is doubled. All right. Otherwise, they do half the distance of what you just saw. And then the last passive, Master of Shadow Dance, increases your critical melee damage when dual wielding by 16%.